Welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm really excited to have you guys hear from Jim Simon and today's guest, the founder of Jimmy Bars. And correct me if I say anything wrong here, but it seems like it's a high protein, low sugar snack, but really built around just clean ingredients and I'd say even personality with the marketing and the packaging and everything. So looks like Jim, it sounds like you launched this with your sister, but what I was telling you before, what I love is that it just feels like you really built it without the big CPG backing, and it was just more grit and smart marketing and a passion for better snacks. So I appreciate you joining me on the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so take us back a little bit. When you think about like back to when you started Jimmy Bars, what was happening at that time that really made you feel like this was the move to make for you?
I think back and say, what the hell was I thinking? Is what I think back because
Yeah.
I was making a good living where I was I was working in technology, making a lot of money. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? But no, it was born out of kind of my disdain for quote unquote natural foods at the time. I was a big whole food shopper and
Yeah.
was eating healthy, and you'd walk through the aisles and it's hard to detect what's true and what's bullshit. There's a million ways you can fake things in natural foods, but
Yeah.
out of that, I'm like, uh, I was in the mid to late 40s. I was wrapping up a gig I was at, and I thought I'm ready to do something on my own again because it's the sixth company I've started or founded. So I've always been an entrepreneur
Oh, well,
with some
okay.
pauses working for companies. And the last one was working for a company. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to do my own thing. And I want to do it in with a tangible product, meaning I don't want to be selling data. I want to be able to touch my product, and I want to do something in food because I've always wanted to do something with my sister, who is a restaurateur and a chef, and her husband's a
Ah,
restaurateur and chef, and my other two sisters are entrepreneurs, and so our whole family's entrepreneurs. So I want to do something entrepreneurial again, and we decided on food, and then I tried to talk her into like healthy ice cream or healthy this or healthy that. Chefs don't like healthy. Chefs like taste. So we stumbled across bars, and she's like, "Yeah, that's kind of boring. Why would someone eat a bar when they could eat food?" I said, "Because not everybody can sit down for a 3 hour dinner." And
right.
so we agreed on it. We went down to her test kitchen in the basement of her restaurant in Chicago and mixed. I love dates, and so mixed up some dates and some peanut butter and blah blah blah, and came up with a pretty good bar. So we just decided to do that, and I emailed my family saying we are going to do this little side hustle, which we call it, and my 8-year-old niece, who's now I think a senior at Boulder, said call it the Uncle Dummy Bar because she calls me Uncle Dummy. I'm like, all right, it's kind of funny. I don't know if I wanted to be known as Uncle Dummy, but it's kind of funny. And so so then we decided on the Jimmy Bar because she calls me Uncle Jimmy. And so away we went. I didn't know anything. We came up with really cool packaging. Like everything we did was atypical, and everything we did was a little bit of a middle finger to the industry because there's so much I just hated about the food industry and still do. But no one was
Hmm.
coming up in protein. Everything was dark colors. Brands like Quest and Supreme and very macho. And Jimmy is it sounds like a golden retriever. So we're like, let's make the bars light blue. Almost feminine. So we did that. And then we went into our local Jewel, which, if you're from Chicago, Jewel is your grocery chain. And the buyer said, "Yep, looks good. We like it. You're local. You can come in. $30,000 slotting fees. You got to go through KHE, put together your marketing budget." I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know what slotting fees were. So it's 30,000 bucks to get in. You know,
Wow.
um, and that's per item. You can imagine how many $2 bars you got to sell to make up your 30K. So I called up my sister. I said, this business has no legs. Like we're done. I'm gonna go get another job. And she said, just chill out and just think about a different channel to go into. So right off the bat, I didn't like grocery because it's too expensive. I still don't like grocery because it's too expensive. It's the most expensive channel there is. From there,
Hmm.
what I did was I pivoted into what's called micro kitchens, which are when you go into a Facebook or Uber or Oracle, like kind of my background, all the tech companies They have these beautiful cafeterias that they call micro kitchens, and they give away
Right.
great food for free. I'm not talking about, salmon and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about packaged foods. And it's not Cheetos and Doritos and Twinkies and garbage. It's really cool food by really cool brands that most of you haven't heard of. Probably the most successful brands to come out of that environment are Jimmy Bars and Hint Water. Hint Water was one of the originators of micro kitchens, but it's a great way to build a good business without all the junk fees and the crap and the distributors that you have to deal with traditional distribution. So that's what we did year 1 to 3. We built up $1 million company. We were profitable. And then it
Nice.
was time to, we were having co-packers manufacture for us, which is normal. I mean, the majority of brands you see at, say, a Whole Foods have a professional manufacturer manufacture the product for you. And so we were doing that, but the last 3 ended up in, an ugly divorce because they cheapened our ingredients and they're changed our formula and they're using, the cheapest employees and
Yeah.
you can't control your supply chain. So my sister was pushing heavily from day one. Let's manufacture our own product. Then we control
Uh,
supply and the cost. And
hmm
I came back and I'm like, we don't know about the machinery. We don't know about, I'm not mechanical. I don't know how to make food. And she's like, Jim, I've been making, ossobuco at my Italian restaurant for 30 years. I think I can figure out how to make a peanut butter product. It won't be that tough. So we rented 2,000 square feet. It worked. Her husband is our partner. He's a workhorse. We hired a small team. I stayed out of it. So from our beginnings when we had our co-packer in 2000 or no, I'm sorry, 2017, it was sales and marketing, and then it was co-packing, which was beautiful because most CEOs have to do everything. They have to make sure that you know, the guy at the end of
Yeah.
the line actually shows up and he's not drunk, and the person mixing the ingredients shows up and he's not drunk, and all the nonsense you have to deal with that kind of world. I don't have to deal with that, so I'm just focusing on raising money and selling product, and so it just worked, and we ended up buying that building. So we started 2,000 square feet, we kept growing, we ended up buying a 20,000 square feet building, which is a nice little success story, but right around there, we started getting inquiries because we were self-manufacturing and because we were also on the street in the stores or in the micro kitchens, hearing what people were asking for. Everyone was asking for high protein, low sugar. So I had this bar that tasted really good. It was extremely healthy. It was 5 ingredients back when that movement was happening, and nobody really wanted it. What they really wanted is 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and they don't care if they're eating cardboard. They just want 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. And America's like that more than ever for a variety of reasons. So that's what we
Yeah.
did. We give the people what they want. And so we pivoted to high protein, low sugar. And then we did kind of a soft pivot on that, which is functional ingredients. And so we started
hmm
what I call our brain fire fuel, which is MCT omega 3 and guarana seed for energy and alertness. One of our bars has turmeric for recovery. One of our bars has collagen for hair, skin, nails, and bone growth. One of our bars has 300% vitamin C for immune health. So every bar does something above and beyond just tasting good. We thought why not? It's just a little hook. And the bar started taking off, and then we started getting inquiries from large um, uh, retailers who want us to private label the bars. They want to be in the high protein, low
mm
sugar business, but they want us to do it for them. So we started private labeling, and that's taken off dramatically.
Okay.
We still own the IP, so we've got a business that's partially private label, partially branded. We've grown a lot. Our goal is to hit 100 million in sales within a couple of years. We think we're going to
Wow.
do it. And then we're launching heavily on ecom right now. So ecom is a channel that I kind of have dropped the ball. But Amazon, TikTok, iHerb, Shopify, whatever, we're going heavy. We're going heavy there, and we're constantly trying to innovate, change the bars, make them better. We have a bar coming out shortly that's going to be revolutionary. It's something no one's ever done, which I can't.
Okay.
It's in a secret closet. But we've managed to compete. Every day when I wake up, I'm competing against Mars, Hershey's, Kellogg's,
Mhm.
Atkins, um, Pepsi, massive, massive private equity that have so much more money than us. So we had to figure out early on how to beat these guys, or at least carve out a niche for ourselves, because I did not and do not want to take institutional money. I want only good human beings, not saying they're bad human beings, but good human beings who are trying to do something other than steal my company. And so I self-funded the first couple years. I brought in friends and family, and now we've got, I think, 54 investors, all who are pulling for us. No one's trying to put me on a kamikaze. If I run out of money, then I do a down round. I've been through that shit before. So we've self-funded and we've only raised about 5 million bucks over 11 years, which is unheard of, as far as how small it is for a
Yeah.
company that'll probably sell $100 million over the past 10 years. So that 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 along with the co-packing, along with the private label, along with self-manufacturing has made us very different.
I mean, you've had a lot of wins for sure. Are there any parts of the business you'd want to improve or change if you could? What's been the hardest thing?
Money's always hard. Raising money is a bear. I'm lucky that I have some friends who have done very well. And so friends of friends of friends of friends, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Um,
Yeah.
on the manufacturing side, I think we've done a pretty good job, but constantly innovating on the equipment, buying new equipment, finding new equipment. Not my favorite part of the job either. It's time consuming and slow, but we've managed to do a pretty good job. But probably, what has been the biggest hassle, I would say money is always a hassle. Because in our business, to get bigger, for us to get to 100 million, you can't cash flow your way there. You just can't. You're going to have to go out and get investment. You're going to have to deal with
Hmm.
banks, which is also is I put into my not my favorite thing to do in the world is deal with banks. But you have to have access to capital. If my dad left me $200 million, you know, my business would be very different. If I had a rich uncle, my business would be very, very different. So if you start with money, you can cut off years.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear? Yeah, yeah, okay. What did you do during those years that you wouldn't have to do now? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, not probably as familiar as you are, but yeah, yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. I mean, who are your ideal customers now? Who are the ones that are, yeah, I know you're going down the e-commerce route, but apart from that, who are your actual customers, your partners in that are working with you? Yeah. Mm, wow. Interesting. So, where 6 to 12 months from now, what kind of growth trajectory are you on? What will change? What will be different? Or where would you love to be 6 to 12 months from now? Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a beast that seems like you'd have ton of competition there. How do you even make yourself stand out? Yeah. So, like, what is the like to? I mean, I know I see that I understand the focus, the Amazon e-commerce focus, but what is you're talking about getting connected with really large suppliers like the clubs and all of these stores you're talking about. What's the best way to actually get in there and have the conversations with the right people?
Sorry, I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I got
And
you.
then
I got
before
you. No
that, it's like
worries.
it's yeah, it's like I gotta call Cox. They're the worst. I got a couple minutes to go. Let's finish strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So real quick, what I had asked is, are these big brands like these clubs, Costco and Walmart, like how are you making inroads and getting to the right people to have those conversations?
The old fashioned pick up the fucking phone. That's what I do. That's what that's what I tell my people. Pick up the
Yeah.
fucking phone. You can find you can find the right people. You know, I without revealing too much, I just had a bump in the road with one of my salespeople because he or she was not getting meetings, and I said, "What's going on?" They're like, "Well, I can't find the right person." I said, "Pick up the fucking phone. Like, figure it out. Pick up the phone. Go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my Bible. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Google it. Chat GPT. Who's the buyer for Costco Northwest? Figure it out. That's why you're a sales rep. Figure it out." And like back in my day, because I'm old, and I mean, shit, we used to get a remember Green Bar? Remember like those giant like the data, the computer paper?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
boss, my this is like 89 right out of high school. My boss would get this Green Bar, he'd dump it, goes, "All right, Jim, call him." And I was in the paper industry, and these were printers. And so it'd say, ABC printer, Pasadena, California, you know, phone number, blah, blah, blah. And so I'd pick up the phone and I would call that number and I would say, "Hey, it's Jim from Northwest Paper. Who's the person who purchases your printing paper?" "That's John. Can I talk to John?" "John's busy. Who else can I talk?" It's like old school, right?
Right.
Pick up the phone, dial for dial. So that's what I find sometimes frustrating dealing with salespeople nowadays is that they don't understand what guys our age dealt with back in the day, and say no internet,
Yeah.
none of this stuff. No LinkedIn. It's like here's green bar. Here's like a stack of leads. Figure it out. And so I can get the buyer of any buyer on planet Earth. Doesn't mean he or she's going to say yes. Doesn't mean they're going to pick up their phone. They probably don't. Doesn't mean they're going to respond to an email. But I'll find out who it is, and I'll figure out a way. You have to be very clever to get sales. So we've had rotations in Costco, Korea, Iceland, Sweden, UK, Australia, Canada, places I've never been to.
Wow.
Just by I picked up the phone and I Googled what time is it in Korea right now, and hey, do you know about Jimmy bars? Can I send you samples? I mean,
Yeah.
sort of using common sense that is sort of lacking with some salespeople.
We are a bit of a phone averse society these days. So I can imagine that probably is the phone is probably feels archaic to some, but it sounds like it is truly it represents how you've grown this business. So boots on the ground and it's just
Boots
old
on the ground
fashioned,
and
yeah,
and scrapping, and you don't give up. And
yeah,
you know,
grit.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a good board of directors, but I don't lean on them much. I figure out things on my own. I don't want to bug them. If I have a problem, I figure it out. And sort of that kind of toughness that you have to be an entrepreneur is, I think, in some ways being replaced by just money. And people go out and they raise.
Yeah.
There are bar companies that are now raising $90 million pre-revenue. It's pretty crazy.
Well, yeah, obviously what you're doing is working, and I'm pretty impressed with the old-fashioned, so to speak, ways that you've you've made it work. So congratulations on all your success. It's pretty impressive. I think I'm about to go order me some and try out your bars. I
Do
didn't have
it.
a chance to do that before. I'm
Try them
looking
on
forward to it.
TikTok. Try them on TikTok, and tell me about the experience. I want to make sure that you get them fast. But thank you so much, Michael. You've been terrific, and let me know if you need anything from me.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Congratulations on all your success.